welcome listeners to Menelation 669, a podcast dedicated to my ADHD ramblings. Today, I'm your host, Mina, obviously, and we are right back into this week's episode. I know I missed last week's episode, but we're not going to talk about that because, yet again, a homunculus kidnapped me to their mothership, so I was not orbiting Earth for a while, but we're back in the Milky Way galaxy. So let's get right into this week's topic, another Reddit hellhole episode. I know you guys like these. I like deep diving into random subreddits that I find on the internet. Quick shout out to Terabyte, who gave me this week's topic. So this is going to be a 2-part series today in just one episode. The first subreddit that we're going to sort of deep dive into is leeches. So when I was sent this as a recommendation for, a podcast episode, I was like, okay, let's see what this is, because we all know what a leech is. It's that little worm that's small in the water, and then it latches onto something, it gets sucked blood on, it gets fat and disgusting. Same. But yeah, there's an actual subreddit called Leeches. It was created August 13th, 2021, and it has about 1.5k readers. First glance, right? I click on it, click on the link, just browsing through it real quick, doing just a quick glance, right? A pretty normal sub, right? It's just a sub for leeches. People keep them as pets. How to keep them happy, what are the tank parameters? Do you need a filter? What kind of substrate can you use? Just basic, albeit it's a little weird, right? Because, you don't say, oh, I have a tank in my home and there's a fucking leech in there. It's like a goldfish or a betta fish that most people have, or, saltwater fish. Nobody in my years and years of living on planet Earth, I have never come across somebody who owns pet leeches. So I was curious, obviously. So I deep dived into it. Also, if you hear thunder in the background, it's because it is thundering and storming here. So that could just be the white noise in the background. Perfect. Deep diving. Okay, so quick glance, just pets. Deep dive, they're not just pets. And you might be wondering, what can you really do with a leech, right? It just sucks on blood, takes the nutrients, and then kind of gets small again. Then you got to kind of feed it blood. So, the universal question is, what do you feed it, right? Because I would think, oh, you have a pet leech. I don't know, throw a fish in there. I don't know. People, and you heard me right, human beings like you and I, these people are letting their leeches feed on them. Yep, the people are putting the leeches that they have as pets on their bodies and letting them feed off of them like a little vampire. These people are very, very passionate about their pet leeches. There are countless of posts and pictures. And people are so passionate about it. They're asking, I'm taking certain medications. Would it affect the leech? Right? Because if you take medication, obviously it's going to get into your bloodstream. Therefore, if the leech is feeding off of you, some of the medication might affect the leech. And these people, can I put animal bones in my tank? What kind of filter system works best? It's so uncanny, right? Because if you just replaced the leeches with goldfish, it'd be a totally normal thing, right? But it's so weird because these are leeches, and you think of leech and it's a bad thing, right? So people are asking, how can I let them feed on me in the most safest way? And that is just mind-boggling, right? Because what the fuck do you mean, can I let a leech feed on me? You're essentially a feeder for these leeches, right? Is this a fetish thing? Is this like a medical thing? Is this just for fun? Like, oh, let me take out Jimmy here and put him on my leg and watch him get fat with my blood. Like, I don't understand, right? It's getting to the point where there was a post that people were making like D&D characters and fan art of their leeches. Like, what the fuck is this? What's going on? Why are they so passionate about their leeches? So a term came up in my research on the subreddit, bloodletting. And I'm like, okay, so there's got to be some medical thing, right? Because I think bloodletting is a medical term. So I went on Google and I had to search, what the fuck is bloodletting? So bloodletting was the deliberate withdrawal of blood from a patient to prevent the cure, illness, and disease, etc. So basically, bloodletting is, I don't know, a medical thing. You just start bleeding out and it's supposed to cure you, or I guess detox you. Bloodletting, whether by a physician or by leeches, was based on an ancient system of medicine in which blood and other bodily fluids were regarded as humors that had to remain in proper balance to maintain health. It was the most common medical practice performed by surgeons from antiquity until the late 19th century, a span over 2,000 years. In Europe, the practice continued to be relatively common until the end of the 19th century. The practice has now been abandoned by modern-style medicine for all except a very few specific medical conditions. In the beginning of the 19th century, studies have begun to show the harmful effects of bloodletting. So I was like, okay, so one of my thoughts were correct. It's a medical thing, right? I don't know. The term bloodletting, it's like, this is gonna be dark, but like, do I cut my arm and then just lay down and let the blood come out? I don't get it. Like, the leech just sort of makes sense, right? Because, people use maggots in a medical field to eat out rotting flesh to clean up a wound, right? So I was like, okay, maybe it's not too far-fetched if you used a leech. I guess leeches help improve blood flow, preventing clots, reduce swelling. It's particularly useful in surgical procedures like reattachment of severed limbs and in managing conditions like osteoarthritis, venous congestion, and certain skin diseases. All right, okay, so I guess there are medical properties for, bloodletting, especially for a leech. It was used in ancient Egypt and Greece, like, heavily, right? Because, I mean, it kind of makes sense. We were sort of, I wouldn't call these ancient civilizations, like in Egypt and Greece, primitive by any means, because at that time, they were definitely they were settled in, right? So the thought of like them using leeches isn't that weird to me. Even in the Middle Ages, they started using it. Like the post said, end of the 19th century, and it's been abandoned. But I did some more research, and leech therapy is still used today, albeit rare. The saliva in the leeches, is a natural coagulant. So it kind of coagulates the area so you're not bleeding out, but it can still feed on you. It's like a mosquito, right? Kind of interesting. And the craziest part of this is leeches are FDA approved, by the way. I don't know how, but I guess the FDA approved of leeches being used in medical conditions, like medical scenarios and surgery and such like that. So yeah, that was a very interesting, like 30 minutes of my time in day looking at people's leeches. There's different types that you can get. There's a post saying don't go to bait shops to get leeches because they're not bred ethically. Like, you don't know what kind of parasites or whatever the fuck they're carrying are. It kind of makes sense, right? It's just bizarre. I mean, there's pictures. The pictures are the really traumatizing part, I will admit. And I don't get queasy with blood and gore and none of that crap. But just seeing people willingly attach like 5 leeches to their arms or legs and it's just blood's coming out. But it's like, Jimmy's so happy right now. Look how fat he is. And it's like, what the hell? Anyways, that was part 1 of today's episode on leeches and bloodletting. So now you know something new. Furthering on, I had to research what the hell am I going to talk about? Because the leeches, albeit it's super cool and weird, bizarre definitely, I needed something else. I needed to feed my brain, my chaotic, homunculus, one brain cell brain. I needed something else. So I'm going through Reddit, right? Like a normal person. What are some weird subreddits? Most of the weird subreddits are a lot of visually based. So if you search weird subreddits like top 10, we talked about that weird yellow legs episode a few weeks ago. A lot of the subreddits that are weird are picture related, like chairs underwater or like trees sucking on things, and it's like trees growing in weird places. It's all a visual thing. You have to look at the pictures to kind of understand what the subreddit is about. So I'm just browsing, right? And I come across, I guess this has already been talked about. It's already been known on the internet. It's just hasn't been known to my realm. So now I'm going to bless you all, my beautiful disciples, on a garloid. And I know it sounds weird. It sounds like something you find in Animal Crossing in the dirt that sings those little songs. No. God, no. Buckle in. Just grab yourself a water. Just let's bring our heart rate down from the leech thing and just kind of ground ourselves into this new part 2 of the episode called Garloids. What the fuck is a garloid? I click on the subreddit. I'm like, what the fuck is this? The first thing I do to any subreddit is I go right to like the tiny box on the right side, and it kind of tells you what the heck the sub is about. Basically, it talks about garloids, their care, and the milk they produce. I'm hooked. I'm like a freaking bluegill in a lake, and a freaking succulent worm comes down, plops into the water, and I'm there. I'm hooked. You hear me? Milk they produce? What the fuck is going on here? The subreddit was created January 10th, 2021, and it has about 1.2k members. So it's not like the biggest sub, but there's a decent amount of people here. I think it was also restricted or something like that. There's, there's like these pinned highlight posts that moderators can pin for the sub. Like most of the time it's like a basic Q&A, like a FAQ of like what the sub is about. I need to know. Cause if you go to Reddit right now, all right, while you're listening to me, just go on Google real quick and search Garloid Reddit and just look at like a few pictures, right? You're there. Perfect. What the freak? That is a homunculus, right? That's a fleshy homunculus with weird eyeballs and hairs. And trigger warning, just a warning in general. This is fake, right? This is all a fictional thing that people created because us lovely human beings were so creative, right? So you looked at the pictures. Let's reel ourselves back in, right? Let's come back to Earth. Let me just read this huge pinned message about garloids. Garloids are the most diverse eukaryotes, having hundreds of thousands of species as well as a myriad of domesticated breeds. Evolving during the Silurian Ordovician, garloids have lasted for a very long time, fitting many ecological niches and spreading across the entire globe, with some living on the poles, quote-unquote polar garloids, and others living at the equator, equatorial garloids, and everywhere in between. Much research has gone into garloids over the centuries. What the hell? Garloids are not mammals. Any traits of mammals that garloids have are due to convergent evolution. All caps, by the way. Unfortunately, due to many historical events related to garloids, they are banned in some areas. In many places, people are allowed to do whatever they want to garloids due to not being legally recognized as anything more than property, or even worse, vermin. Even though garloids are very helpful to both the entire ecosystem and humans, many people are racist to them. This has caused obnoxious amounts of hunting, torture, etc. done to garloids. And as we continue to contribute to the ever-growing problem of climate change, garloids are more and more at risk. If your garloid has a health issue, seek out the nearest Garloid clinic. If you no longer want to keep a Garloid, take it to the Garloid shelter or release it to a protected zone like a national park. What the hell? Quote unquote, one that Garloid species are native to? Garloid poaching is also a widespread issue, with many poachers having gone to as far as to kill other humans so they can sell their rare Garloids. So pause. What the freak is happening? Like, I feel like I'm in a Black Mirror episode. What the hell do you mean? What is happening? A Garloid clinic or a Garloid shelter? And there's thousands of species. Who's LARPing here, right? This is my first impression. Who is LARPing? And they're having a blast because they're just creating this whole new species of homunculi. And there are so many posts of people and their Garloids, right? Continuing on with this huge paragraph. Blood feeding. Oh, see, there's a tie here, guys. Blood feeding is okay in most Garloids, but many of them will become aggressive or they cannot digest blood properly. If you have a question about blood feeding, post them in the replies to this post. Interesting. Blood is okay, but I guess it will become aggressive. Like, I don't know, like a fucking vampire. Feeding tap water to Garloids is usually dangerous, as it is often treated with things that are poisonous to Garloids. Most tap water doesn't actually have enough fluoride to do any harm to Garloids, but some Garloids can't have any fluoride. So feeding tap water on a regular basis instead of other sources of water may cause the Garloid to get sick. The same goes for the resold tap water such as Aquafina, Dasani, and Nestle. I don't know how to... Nestle? Is that how you pronounce that? On Nestle specifically, do not buy any Nestle products. They are the worst company in the world for thousands of reasons, so please don't support them by giving them greedy asses money. LMA. Oh, okay. Tap water is safe for human consumption in a well-developed country such as Norway. And in certain places, the water supply is made safe for Garloids by using fluoride substitutes. So guys, the shitty water, don't feed that to them. All right, it's because it says same goes for the resold tap water, which is true, because if you ever had Dasani, that shit is worse. That shit has to be worse than like Florida tap water, right? So make sure, guys, if you have a Garloid, it has to be purified spring tap like water, some shit like that. And don't spread any misinformation. Okay, this is important, guys. Carefully research details about Garloids, because you never know how many people are going to use your advice. Treat it as a fact and apply it to however many situations. There are many sources online for fact-checking, and you can use them at any time whenever you want to know something with certainty. Just take a moment, guys. Let's just digest this for a moment, because if you haven't yet, and now you're finally kind of itching to see the pictures of what the fuck a Garloid is, take your time now. Garloid, Garloid, and tell me that isn't a homunculus twin tumor that happens in some abomination situation where, you know, you've absorbed your twin or some shit and you're born and you got to remove that. That's what a Garloid looks like. Some of them have eyes, some of them don't. Some of them look like flaccid penises. I don't understand, right? There is a plethora of posts, right? For example, there's one post called, "Did I get scammed?" So my first thought, okay, they bought a Garloid, right? What's going on? Somebody posted, "Did I get scammed?" This was a year ago. I found an ad online claiming to offer mail-order Garloids shipped anywhere in the world. Being an old Lloydhead back in my home country, I was excited at the prospect of once again nurturing a pod to be the best they can be. I was so excited that I overlooked some of the details on the listing. I've already paid them, the transaction has cleared, but now I am seeing that there are dehydrated Garloids. The seller was very receptive up until payment cleared, but now I haven't heard anything back about how one goes about rehydrating a Garloid. This goes against everything I know as a Garloid rancher. I haven't been in the game for a while. Is this some sort of new technology or did I get scammed here? Okay, wow. This is bringing back. So this is where the ADHD rambling is coming. I don't know if you guys know what a moss ball is or a marimo moss ball. The word marimo moss ball, it originates in Japan. There are these specific moss species that happen in really cold rivers in Japan. Pure water, super clean, clear water, cold. They kind of tumble around down the river and they form into these spheres. And they're just a big lump, not a perfect sphere, but pretty damn close to being a perfect sphere. And they're just balls of moss and they're so cute. You can put them in your fish tank as long as the fish aren't nippy. And they're great to have, right? It's just a pet in the water. Clean up the water a few times, not tap water. Guys, remember, this is the Garloid subreddit. No tap water here. That reminds me of the moss ball pandemic because people were getting dehydrated moss balls because during COVID and, probably even before COVID, they were super popular. They just kind of sprung out of nowhere. And people wanted the moss balls so badly that they were buying them in any kind of capacity online, eBay, whatever. And people were getting dehydrated moss balls. Some of them were even fake. Like, there's different species of moss out there. And I guess people were getting like Java moss balls, which is not the correct type of moss. Anyways, so that kind of like, I'm getting this link here with the Marimo pandemic that happened when everybody was getting scammed. Oh, and the moss balls had invasive snail species living inside of them. Wow, I went off tangent. But anyways, this is what's bringing me about it. Dehydrated Garloids. There's one comment. Yeah, unfortunately, new Lloyd merchants are adopting this strategy, although it is inhumane beyond belief. Wow, they are passionate about their Garloids. They claim that the shipping cost is reduced because Garloid liquid content makes up about 90% of the weight. I have found success ordering a small misting pump and misting my beautiful Garloid with a combination of deionized water and triglyceride solution 90/10%. It's a 90 and 10%. Keep the misting rate low, and make sure the misting cone does not hit the Lloyd head on. You want it at about a 45 to 60 degree angle for optimal rehydration. A super snazzy trick I found is to put 2 drops of nutmeg essential oil into the solution, and this will make the Lloyd grow his hair at a faster rate. Who doesn't love that succulent Lloyd mane to gawk at? Good luck, OP. Are we in a Black Mirror episode, guys? Because what the freak? They're saying it's inhumane beyond belief to like have these Lloyd merchants doing the dehydration process because they are 90% water, so it is heavy, right? And heavy means shipping costs will go up because of the packaging. Wow, this is very specific. A combination of deionized water and triglyceride solution is wild. Who even came up with that? Nope. And then you have to mist it at a 45 to 60 degree angle. I'm so invested. This isn't even funny, guys. Like, there's another one. This one, just strap in. What are some of the health benefits of drinking Garloid milk? Beginner Garloid keeper info. Do different foods give different milk quality? Also, how do you blood feed your Garloids? I want to give my Garloids a nice life as possible, so I want to know what and how to feed them. What should their habitat be like? Wow. Drinking Garloid milk. You could torture me, right? You can put me in a gulag in the middle of Siberia, and you couldn't even get me to drink a sip of Garloid milk. Because if you saw the pictures, you can tell that it kind of looks like a ball sack or a flaccid penis. Freaking imagine drinking Garloid milk. You would have to rip out all of my fingernails, rip all of my teeth out with pliers, I don't know, cut my eyelids, pour lemon juice into them, and I will keep my mouth shut. I don't give a shit if you cut my lips off. I am not taking a droplet of garloid milk. All right, let's get to the comments here. Garloid milk has many health benefits. Doubtful, but including supporting bone growth, cell regeneration, as well as helping with the immune system. It has also been proven to decrease the risk of heart disease and regulate blood pressure and sugar levels. So if you're not giving your garloid tap water and you have to give it a specific water solution, how the hell does the milk have health benefits, right? Like, what do you mean? Bone growth, cell regeneration, immune system. So if I drink it, can I get immortal eventually? So the comment keeps going. Because, do different foods give milk quality? So the answer to that is, if you mean differences in nutrition, yes, this plays a major role in milk quality and everything related to the milk. There are many resources you can use for this, so I won't bother with recommendations, especially since I don't know what garloids you have, because remember, there are thousands of species, right? Keep that in mind. So I guess different foods give different milk qualities. So that answers that. So how do you feed blood to your garloids? You can give them blood the same way you give them water or milk, but please research this deeply so you know this is safe. If you have to know what blood you can give your loid. If you can give it blood at all, some become aggressive after tasting blood, remember that, and how much blood is given to them. Garloids are susceptible to iron overdose. So do not simultaneously blood feed and give them high iron food. Wow, so they're susceptible to iron overdoses, guys. Who is coming up with this? This has got to be this is like lore, right? This is canon. So the third answer to the question, I want to give my garloids the nicest life possible. Know what and how to feed them. What should their habitat be like? Just try to make it look like it's a habitat. What kind of answer is this? Holy shit. Try to give it an adequate space to live, and if you can, use real plants and live feed. Try to make sure it has everything necessary to accommodate your pet loid and that it is safe for them. That is all. Wow. So just, I don't know, rented a studio apartment, I guess, and it should be fine as long as it has real plants and live feed, guys. Remember that. Somebody else posted this comment on the same, question. Do not drink garloid milk. You will die. So what is the truth, right? It's a deleted user, so we'll never fucking know. Don't drink it, guys. If you can come across a garloid, just don't. It comes to the next post that I read. How do garloids produce milk? Because if you saw the pictures, right? It's like a naked mole rat, like a little ball sack, flaccid penis. So how do garloids produce milk? Will they make it via anaerobic respiration and secrete it through pores? Dude, this is getting worse. Or is there a mouth that I can feed it through and a gland that I can milk? I'll make it end me. Somebody's asking if there's a mouth it could feed through and a gland that I can milk. That is the wildest statement that I have ever read. The comments, here we go. You should leave a small amount of rotting meat in their food bowl. They'll break down the proteins into a goo that they absorb through their spiracles. What the fuck is a spiracle? However, that's only if you want them to produce milk. Otherwise, anaerobic respiration is enough for them to subsist. Okay, the OP who asked this question replied, thanks. It seems to be working. The milk is so creamy. Yo, chill. Oh my god. However, it's humming at a low frequency and asking me to do horrible things. What should I do? Guys, oh my god, I found my people. Like, this is the type of shit I'm talking about, guys. This is it right here. Are you eating it fresh? Because garloids produce a slight amount of Hold on, hold on, hold on. Oh my gosh. Prepare yourselves. Garloids produce a slight amount of auditory hallucinogenic drug along with the milk. Dude, the Garloid lord. The lore is so good. What the fuck do you mean they produce a slight amount of auditory hallucinogenic drug with the milk that they produce? Luckily, it degrades after a week. Just leave it for a couple days and it'll cure. When it starts smelling like burning rubber, it'll be ready. Dude, this has got to be like one of my favorite subreddits. I'm so sad that it is a restricted sub, and I don't think people have been really posting a lot because right now, currently live, there's only one online member. I think it's me currently on the subreddit. Holy shit! There's another comment on this. Many species, especially older ones, do the former. More modern species from after the Cretaceous period do the latter. Though some still evolved, were bred to produce via anaerobic respiration. Holy crap, my jaw hurts. My head is like pounding because this has got to be the craziest shit I've ever read. This is worse than the other Reddits that we talked about. Even the scat fetish was honestly vanilla compared to this, right? Oh my, anaerobic respiration, humming a low frequency, auditory hallucinogenic drug with the milk, burning rubber smell when it's ready. Like, this is good. This is good stuff right here. Another post. So when I was just scrolling down the posts, I just basically bookmarked all the ones that are interesting title-wise. So we're just doing this live. Like, I haven't read them. So my reactions to these are completely authentic because what I like to do with the podcast is I barely do any research. And I know you might be thinking, wow, that's some crazy shit, right? Like, what the fuck do you mean? You're creating a podcast and talking about things, but you're kind of like, I'm just raw dogging it, right? I just find a topic, bookmark it, and then we just go from there, right? So this is all live, true reactions. Let's go. The next post. PSA, flash photography. That interested me. So this is OP saying, flash photography is dangerous to many garloids as it could cause blindness, spoiled milk disease, and stillbirths. Flash photography is only safe if your garloid is blind and asexual. Yo, garloids can be. I'm crying. There's tears in my eyes. I can't read. Asexual garloids have different reproduction. So in the case of stillbirths, it is safe, and blind garloids don't get blindness, for they are already blind, and don't get spoiled milk disease from flash photography. This is all caps. If a garloid is either of those two things, but not both, it is not safe to do flash photography. The same is true for slug garloids, swine worm garloids, semi-aquatic garloids of any type, Colombian garloids, and Siberian striped garloids. So if you have a garloid of those species, do not do flash photography. It has to be off, guys. Remember, unless it is blind or asexual, that's the only. What the fuck is happening? The comments. Are there any documented case of garloids developing immunity to flash photography? I'd hate to see the entire species die out because of human ignorance. OP comments, no. Also, flash photography won't kill a species, but it is dangerous. Another person commented, there are factual errors and outright falsehoods, as well as omission of important facts in this post. As I had stated in the previous thread where someone was asking for garloid photos, flash photography is linked to spoiled milk syndrome. It is not a disease. There is no cure or treatment for it. Also incorrect is the fact that blind garloids are not affected by flash photography. This could not be further from the truth. Flash photography can affect nearly all garloids, causing extreme pain due to SMS. Sight does not factor in. You also left out the fact that it can cause permanent genetic damage to garloid DNA, which jeopardizes the future of the species. Dude, I can't breathe. Do your research and stop spreading dangerous misinformation. You need to do better for the sake of the garloids, OP. We're getting heated. A mod had to come in. A mod had to come in and comment on that comment right there. It is true that it causes genetic damage. However, you're right about the fact that it is still dangerous to most blind garloids. My source was actually about multiple genera of blind garloids from 2020. The paper hasn't been proven wrong, but those specific genera aren't affected by flash photography. This paper also implies that, and from wording, that blind garloids aren't affected by flash photography, which is wrong. Wow. So, okay, guys, spoiled milk disease is a syndrome. It's not a disease because there's no cure or treatment for it. And it doesn't matter if it's blind or asexual or polyamorous, your garloid will be affected by flash photography. So put those flash cameras away, all right? Because clearly it's detrimental to the whole species. Ahmad also commented on that just comment right there. Spoiled milk syndrome is the same thing as spoiled milk disease. It's just that they refer to different ways of getting it. Spoiled milk syndrome is when they get it from birth. Spoiled milk disease is when they get it after being born. It's complicated, but that's how it was defined, even though it has nothing to do with the actual words being used. Confusing, but I'm right, you're wrong. Fuck you, kill yourself right now. Wow. A mod said this? Holy crap, this is a crazy sub. What the hell is going on? Anyways, so what did we learn? Don't use flash photography on your garloids. This is crazy. People are asking what the hell is a garloid, and people aren't answering. A garloid is a garloid. People are just saying no. What the hell is happening? Okay, double post. I have no words. Number one, the newly discovered ancient precursor to the garloid. Somebody had to be on shrooms or LSD or some fucking drug, right? They probably saw like one of those weird fleshy bits like you can get in egg yolks. You know what I'm talking about? Like this, like the fetus, the stillbirth of a chicken egg, and they were probably high as fuck, and they just came up with this because what the hell? And discovered an ancient precursor to the garloid. In an undisclosed archaeological site, they found a 540 million-year-old animal very similar to the ancient garloids of the late Cambrian. I can't help myself. I can't help myself. It likely fed off of prokaryotes and other incredibly small things that live on ocean floors. Very little is known about it. It was discovered yesterday, so only garloid researchers and some paleontologists know about it, but this is much allowed to be disclosed for now. Wow. Number 2, my garloid burst. Please. I had a big Swedish garloid who was one of my favorite Swedish garloids that I had for being super nice, cute, and intelligent, and very fast at producing high quality milk. Seriously, that was some of the best milk I have ever tasted. Yes, it is safe to drink garloid milk, and it is completely normal. It's just like cow milk. He burst today. So Rip Chicken, that was his name. Pretty sad, but I still have other ones, so hopefully I can make that one as good as Chicken. Rip Chicken from 2013 to 2022. Wow. This was posted 3 years ago, so I don't even... We're just jumping right to the next post. Possible garloid abuse. I think my neighbor may be running an illegal garloid harvesting operation. Yo. Is it just me, or are these like actually getting worse? Like they're getting wilder. I've called the police several times and they have never done anything. They even threatened me with arrest if I were to call ever again about it. The Humane Society doesn't even recognize garloids as living creatures, so they won't get involved. Where can one turn to when all else has failed? Wow. I know this is all fictional and satire, 100%, right? But boy, is it fucking entertaining. Comments. Don't ever call the police regarding garloids. Most police forces will not care, or like you said, threaten to arrest you. Sometimes they do in fact arrest you. Your best bet is contacting some local garloid rescue organizations who can look into it. I read somewhere that garloids start using their brains at the age of 6 months, so consciousness doesn't activate before that. Some people tend to use colnium to speed up this process, but that only happens in labs with perfect circumstances. So what the fuck is colnium? Colnium is this like a plant? A highly toxic weed found in waste places. Yo. Oh my god. So feed your garloid as a child colnium. It's a highly toxic weed plant. Wow. The only reason to do that is, of course, only for research purposes, but I think you're right about calling the Garloid Rescue Organization, but without proof they cannot intervene, nor get a search warrant without police help. I've read somewhere that garloids like acidic fruit, so maybe throwing some in its garden to provoke some to get outside so you can videotape it. Oh yeah, because the neighbors having illegal garlord harvesting operation. Right. My brain, it's just going everywhere. I can't even be focused right now. Thank you for pointing this out, but do you have any evidence? I'd like to know more details. Wow. So people are abusing them. There's another post 3 years ago. Garloid started producing this thick gray substance. Take a deep breath. I'm new to owning garloids. Is this normal? I've been giving it a diet of mashed up fruits and vegetables, and that's what the seller suggested I do. The substance has the consistency of mucus. It is of gray color and has no transparency. It is sticky, sort of like honey, and it smells like rotten apples. Any idea what it could be? The comment. What type of garloid is it? I believe it is a Brazilian moss garloid. Make sure it doesn't have any digestive or respiratory diseases. They can cause this. Okay, where do you recommend bringing one? Any vet that takes garloids, really. Somebody else commented, depending on the age of your garloid, it could be secreting this liquid as a hormonal signal to find a mate. It is natural and none of it is found. If none is found, it will slowly stop and then start again in a month, and so on and so forth. If your garloid is neutered, then it may be a hormone imbalance. Medication may be required. So what I'm hearing is the garloid is having a menstruation. That's what's happening. It's a hormonal signal to find a mate, and it happens every month. So we can put 2 and 2 together, right? Guys, there is some weird. Did you guys hear that? That's the thunder. I hope it strikes me down. I hope it strikes me. Continuing on. Some people, there's so many garloid breeds. Somebody commented, I currently have rat-tailed garloid, Anglo-Germanic garloid, Asian resting garloid, Kenyan brown-orange garloid, Mexican sun garloid, Garlodium meridiclovus, Saharan lamp garloid, South African spotted garloid, South American water garloid, small-winged water garloid, Western linking garloid, Brazilian muscular garloid, aka the Brazilian albino garloid, and Colombian green garloid, and the northern module garloid. What the hell? Why are there so many? Who is coming up with this? Garloid misconception. Garloids are not mammals. We already talked about this. They evolved 490 MYA at the end of the Cambrian. What? So 490 MYA, the Cambrian period age, right? This was 540 to 490 million years ago. The Paleozoic era. This is wild. Why would they're tying the Cambrian period to when they were starting to come about. They later on filled in the same niches as mammals, adapting smaller traits. This is why modern garloids produce milk. Thank you. Clapping emojis. So tired of people trying to argue that garloids are mammals just because they produce milk. Right, it's saying like a coconut is a mammal. Yeah. Garloid, quote unquote, milk isn't technically true milk. It's just a similar suspension in nutrients. We'll just call it milk because it's a useful comparison. It is also sometimes used in the same way. Garloid milk cereal, question mark? Even if they aren't true mammals, they have pretty much all their similar traits that a mammal does. Milk, hair/fur on some species, etc. It's like calling a tomato a vegetable, even though it is biologically a fruit. It's just helpful to describe them as mammals for ease of the term. Somebody commented on that, but there are also lots of differences. For example, most mammals have bones, plus vegetable is already a poorly defined biological category, and it is really only useful in cooking, while mammal can be given a more rigorous molophyletic definition. It's just misleading, and there are already more than enough misconceptions about garloids among the general public. Somebody commented on that. It's misleading and has gone too far because many people think that garloids are mammals now. Guys, so basically they are not mammals. We got to get that through our thick heads. Some people... Wait, what the hell? My garloid ate me and I can't get out and I'm afraid to hurt it. What do I do? Oh my god, why? Tickle it. That will cause the muscles to react. As said above, tickle it to activate the muscles. If that doesn't work, I think what I'm looking at, so there's a picture and it straight up looks like a tapeworm butthole. Brown and it's sort of creamy colored. I think what I'm looking at is a Macedonian black truffle garloid, question mark. So you could try yourself vomit inside of him. They are very compassionate, so it will make him vomit too. Same. Everybody's saying tickle it. It's common knowledge that if you're garloid, it's you, then you tickle it. So guys, if it's garloid, it's you, tickle it. There are so many, 13% garloid roadkill statistics. 13% increase in garloid roadkill attacks since 2020. What the hell? Guys, don't go on the sub. It's just getting worse. The more I'm scrolling down really quick. I mean, new species are being discovered. Can you help identify what kind of garloid this is? Somebody wants to make a wiki page? Oh my god. On fandom.com, somebody wants to make an actual wiki page for garloids. Weird behavior in one of my garloids, South African spotted garloid. One of my South African spotted garloids is refusing to produce milk at daytime, only producing it at night. As far as I know, this isn't normal. This started just one day ago. Despite it only producing milk at night, it produces the same amount of milk per day. Should I take it to the vet? If not, what can I do to prevent this? Should I prevent this? Is it sick? Is it normal? Should I be concerned? Wow. Wow. The first comment, I would recommend checking the sleeping area first to make sure there are no babies. No babies. It is way too young to have babies. It could be possible that your garloid is having some issues with nutrition and maybe you need to feed them a bit before they sleep. A cure that may work is placing the garloid in a warm water bath. After an hour, the water should turn white and it should produce more milk than usual. A sleep schedule? Unfortunately, it might be an STD. Check the genitalia area for lumps or otherwise. If you find some, keep it in a warm bath for a few hours a day. What the hell is happening? Guys, we're already almost at an hour. I didn't expect to just ramble about garloids for this long. This is going to be the last garloid post. Questions about garloids. What is the biggest type? When did garloids first evolve? Do garloid plants exist? Is it normal for a greater yellow-scaled garloid to shed its back scales? The smallest garloid. Oh, this is it. The American whooping garloid, aka Texas garloid, is the largest breed I can find information on. Holy shit. From my knowledge, garloids didn't evolve, but were genetically engineered by smashing animal genes together. Somebody commented, but there are 30 million-year-old garloid fossils. Wow. Somebody said the Amazonian landrace. They actually grow up to 5 feet and have up to 1 foot 4.5-inch girth. Wow. Okay, the Pennsylvanian period. I don't even think is that even a thing? It is. The Pennsylvanian period, also known as the Upper Carboniferous or Late Carboniferous, is a geological time span that lasted from approximately 323.2 to 298.9 million years ago. It is a subperiod of the Carboniferous period and is characterized by the formation of supercontinent Pangaea, the development of mountainous ranges like the Appalachians, and the dominance of swamp forests. I didn't know that, so I learned something new. So is that, what is it? Is it normal for the greater yellow-scaled garloid to shed its back scales? And somebody said, no, that's a sign of disease. Somebody said the Amazonian landrace is smaller than both the Sri Lankan tank garloid and the American whooping garloid. There's also an extinct garloid from the Triassic that was about 11 feet in height. What the hell? Dude, imagine an 11-foot garloid. Dude, somebody posted the Texas breed and it is so huge. It broke through somebody's floorboards and it's drooping down. What the hell? Okay, I know I said that was the last post, but they just keep getting worse. Only one udder. Hi, my garloid, the South American waterbred, only has 1 teat. And it is producing a lot of milk, but is this normal? I thought they had 3. Am I wrong? Common misconception. The Central American water breeds have 3 teats, in which only 1 tit is active at a time, staying active for 8 hours. South American water breeders removed this problem and created a breed with only 1 massive undulating tit. Seems you found yourself a great specimen. So it's getting worse, right? These posts are getting worse. I really said that I was going to stop, but I mean, I don't even know. I don't understand. Warning to all. Sack-laying garloids have been being sold online as sex toys under the same name, ovipositors. Please do not buy these. They are very inhumane. Oh my god, don't click on the picture. Holy shit, it's like those egg-laying sex toys. Introducing It's $115 for the sex toy. I don't know what site this is because this is just a a screenshot that was blurred, not safe for work. And in the screenshot, it's splorch, it's starting from $115. The quote, "Yes, your body will do nicely for the young ones." Home sci-fi ovipositors. I'm gonna assume from an educated guess because I don't know what the term ovipositor is. It's like I'm assuming it's an injection thing, right? An ovipositor is a specialized tube-like organ used by female insects and some other mammals to lay eggs. So, wow, it's getting worse. It's just getting worse. The blurred image introducing the splorch, an ovipositor designed for all those xenomorph fans out there who like the idea of alien eggs and impregnation. Made of soft platinum silicone, the splorch is stretchy enough to handle chicken egg sized gelatin eggs. As with the other ovipositors, the splorch does not come with eggs. An egg mold can be purchased for making your own. I just need a moment, guys. Can we just take a moment together as a group, as the tribe, as my disciples in Minalations, my Minalings? Just take a deep breath. Take a sip of your Capri Sun, your Sunny D. In my case, my coffee. What the freak? There are sack-laying garloids that are being sold online as sex toys under the name ovipositors. There are garlophiles out there abusing garloids. The reason they need egg molds to be bought for them is because they use supplements to grow them too fast. When sack-laying garloids are grown via this method, they are mature enough to make their own sacks yet. This is absolutely disgusting. Yes, it is inhumane. So that's why I only use dead wants to fuck. Wait a minute. Like I said, these are live reaction, guys. Like this isn't. There's nothing edited ever on my podcasts. All right. The only thing, and I want to be as transparent as I can be for you guys. The only editing that I do for my podcasts are removing background noises if my fish tank filter is a little too loud or the dogs might be messing around. Those are the only things that I remove audio wise. And if there are sometimes, I'm very lazy. So it is what it is. What you get is it's a premium grandmaster quality of podcasting that I produce because what I say is law and I don't have to take a lot of things out, right? So when I read, yes, it is humane, so that's why I only use the dead wants to fuck. That was just, it's live. We are live right now. Somebody asked, are you a garlophile? You're disgusting. I'm going to be sick, you degenerate. Because why are you using the dead wants to fuck? Because what's going on? Right? What the hell is going on? Controversy behind blood feeding. So there are controversies now. I've been blood feeding my tubular garloid for a couple weeks, my bad. Now, before learning that blood feeding is actually controversial. Am I breaking any laws? I don't think the law, I don't think the law is going to get involved, but technically owning a garloid itself breaks multiple laws in most countries. So unless you're in a GAZ, garloid acceptance zone, you technically won't be breaking any laws you haven't already broken. Thankfully, New Mexico is a GAZ. They use garloids to ethically clean radiation in Los Alamos. People who keep up with this is so crazy. This is so much. Do not blood feed garloids. Under no circumstances let them smell blood. Isolate yourself from garloids immediately if you're bleeding, even if it's just a small cut or nosebleed. Keep your garloids away from injured or dying animals. Unfortunately, your garloid must now be put down, and I encourage you to turn yourself into a garloid control before things escalate. People are saying they might develop a carnivorous behavior. if they're fed fresh blood or raw meat. The person who OP is like, my Garloid is doing great and it's even protecting me at times. Wow. Fear the old blood. There's a higher chance of blood-fed Garloids becoming aggressive, maybe even carnivorous. Proper training reduces this chance to 0.03% or less. So the consensus is don't feed it if you can, but if you do, you have to train it really well. A little Garloid advice for all you keepers. My Louisianan Grayloid, his name is Snowflake, exploded without warning this early morning. What is happening with these Lloyds just exploding and bursting out of nowhere? I suspect he got into my particle accelerator room. I suspect he got into my particle accelerator room and ate multiple radioactive substances. Considering there are bitten chunks out of my polonium supply, it would be safe to say never let your Garloids consume alpha emitters or any radioactive isotope for that matter. While they love this stuff, it is not great for their health. Even small amounts of metastable technetium can raise their oil cholesterol levels. The last thing you want is a class L77-7 Garloid moment. Believe me, I have seen it firsthand. On another note, have you guys noticed how in the summer the milk tastes better than the winter milk? Strange. This has to be a Black Mirror episode for me. This has got to be like the Twilight Zone. Because what the fuck? I reckon that the winter milk tastes off because during the colder months, the Lloyds are in saving mode. Kind of similar to hibernation, but without the sleep part. So they put less energy into the milk production. And so it ends up being less fatty. I tried putting them in a warmer environment, though that may impact the yearly milk quality. To add on to this, most Western Siberian Garloids actually have better tasting winter milk than summer milk, right? Because Siberians, they're in colder climates. So I can see why. Get this OV or whatever the fuck out of here, man. Somebody's asking where to buy them. Some people are saying, there's not a lot of reputable sellers out there. I'm thinking about getting a Garloid. There's just so... Okay. Okay, guys. I know this is getting crazy. Okay. Let's do 2 more. For real this time. 2 more. Garloid infection outbreak solution. Hey there. I've been growing a small colony of North American land Garloids in my basement since 2018, with about 18 of them currently in the farm. I've recently been dealing with a disease outbreak in the colony since 3 months ago, and I'm getting sick of throwing them in my farm equipment in the basement. I've come to the conclusion my Garloids are dealing with IGH, or infectious Garloid hepatitis. I genuinely have no clue how to treat it since Garloids are illegal to own here in Minnesota. So I don't have a lot of information surrounding the disease. As a result, I'm asking the r/Garloids for help. Please let me know if you guys have any solution. Thanks. There's only one comment. Besides washing your equipment, which I'm assuming you're doing, you said they're in your basement. You might want to invest in some vitamin D lights. They might have a vitamin D deficiency. Garloids that have a large amount of vitamin D are shown to fend off disease better, other than the ones with very little. You might want to separate the ones with the hepatitis from the ones without them, as it can spread through them biting each other. Wow. So be careful, guys. If you keep them in the basement, they're gonna be just more susceptible to diseases because they need vitamin D, just like us humans. Last post. On God. On my mother. Homunculus information. Due to the common lack of knowledge of homunculi, I decided to make a post information about them. One might ask, why post it here? I am posting it here because the homunculus homunculus is the rare, lesser-known cousin of the garloid. So am I related to a garloid? Because I am a homunculus. So I guess I'm a lesser-known cousin of the garloid. Natural homunculi are sadly extinct. This is wrong because I am one of the few existing homunculi, my bad. They're sadly extinct, but ways to make them quote-unquote artificially still exist. The most common method is to inject a special mixture into a chicken egg, but like most all known methods, this produces an incomplete homunculus that is unable to reproduce and unable to create a special material. The only method that I know of is to soak the developing egg of an aquatic garloid in a mixture of 75% potassium dihexachloride 3 and 25% of human DNA. This process isn't painful for the developing garloid and creates a complete homunculus that is able to fully reproduce. The first homunculi were discovered in the 12th century by early scientists, but due to their rarity, many attempts to develop them artificially were made. They produce a reddish substance known as the elixir of life. Oh, God. Which also acts as a cure to all known diseases, including cancer. Cancer heals many wounds, expands the human lifespan, and increases brain function. Don't attempt to make a homunculus without special precautions. And do not forget to harvest the elixir, or the homunculus could potentially absorb it and take on a human life form and become violent. It's just getting more and more cursed, guys. You know, we thought it makes the leech bloodletting thing so vanilla, right? It's just so vanilla compared to this, because I hope the garloids don't pop up in my dreams, because I feel like it might. Anyways, ladies, gentlemen, homunculi, everything in between, my beautiful subjects of Earth. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's really cursed, rambling Reddit hellhole episode. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please email me at menalations@gmail.com. You can also recommend me if you find weird niche subjects on Reddit, if you find things that you want me to talk about or deep dive into on the internet, email me them. My abode is your abode. My mothership is your mothership. We're a family here. If you would like to support the show and, potentially maybe I can purchase a garloid myself and update you guys, I have a Patreon linked below in the show notes. Music credits, everything else is also posted in the show notes. That was this week's episode. Take it easy, guys. Get yourself a garlic.